Well, let's just talk about an industry where there is, of course, which has been doing very well, just in terms of the overall growth and new customers, in that sense, if you can put it, flyers in this case, but which perhaps has been hit by high oil prices. I'm talking about aviation. And within aviation, let's pick the regional aviation piece, because, it's still a nascent industry, nascent part of that big aviation segment. Will high oil prices, sustained high oil prices, be an impediment? So where does that story fit in? So we have two gentlemen with me here in our studios. Manoj Chacko is MD and CEO at FLY91, and Alexis Vidal is Chief Commercial Officer at ATR. Gentlemen, great to have both of you here. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
We planned this discussion before the 10% price hike came through, and I was thinking, well, that gives us a nice way to start this, Manoj. So, just your thoughts, top of mind, how the ADF stabilization fund, how does it all help, and where are we at? And this is not a FLY91 question, but for the aviation industry, how's it looking?
Yeah, so I think, Prashant, first of all, thank you for having us here. In terms of the aviation stabilization fund, yes, the West Asia crisis has been having its impact on aviation in general. But I must say that the government of India has really stepped in extremely well. First they stepped in by kind of putting a cap, a 25% cap on the aviation, rise in aviation turbine fuel. So that was like an extremely good step. And the second one is the stabilization fund that they have put together actually helps us to have the government also as a partner in this process to make sure that you don't take the shocks as a company directly. Okay, so I think it's a very, very positive move by the government of India to make sure this industry is kind of, I won't say protected, but have people participate into this entire thing. Of course, different airlines have got different levels of impact today. People with the jet engine aircrafts have a much higher impact on their, fuel cost to revenue ratio, whereas, regional airlines like us have a much significantly lower impact. But I would say that it's an extremely welcome move.
Welcome move. And of course, at the end of the day, all this will depend on the underlying, which is the price of oil moves, right? Some of this could be unwound, this is subject to change.
That is correct. There will be some subject to change, but I think there's a very good mechanism that the government has created, the ministry has created, which actually helps us in a positive fashion, So you're not kind of left guessing, needing to know what to do and things like that. So I would say very welcome. And hopefully we're all waiting for the crisis to get over, and for oil prices to stabilize. But I think in the short run or the medium run, I think extremely positive moves.
I'll get into the cost dynamics, etc., for aviation in just a bit, and I'll get you in, Alexis, on it as well. But Manoj, you've been an airline veteran. Is this some of the toughest periods that the industry has gone through with very high oil prices?
I think the industry has been through this before. This is a cyclical phenomenon. Way back in the 2007, 2008, we've been through a similar kind of a situation at that point of time. So yes, fluctuations in aviation fuel pricing has been a cyclical thing, but I think the industry has also had the resilience to, handle it well. But yes, currently there are situations which are unprecedented. But yeah, I think the industry has faced worse shocks in the past.
Okay. Alexis, jump in there. So talk to us a little bit about ATR. So we've got an airline operator and we've got an airplane manufacturer.
Sure, we are the world leader in manufacturing regional aircraft. And talking about price volatility of the fuel, this is where it commands airline to utilize the most fuel-efficient asset. So to give you a very simple picture, an ATR is a turboprop aircraft, meaning it has two engines, moving, rotating propellers that pull the aircraft forward. That alone burns up to half less fuel than an equivalent size jet aircraft. So when you have price volatility as we see today, or even tension on fuel supply, you want to be using the most fuel-efficient aircraft. And that can help airlines fly profitably and also develop new routes, new markets in a very interesting market. India is the most exciting market for aviation nowadays.
So 30 to 40% lesser fuel consumption.
Yes.
Through these are smaller aircraft, right?
These are smaller, like up to 78-seater aircraft, which are great for opening new routes, new destinations, or new airports.
So, and this fits in with what's happening with India. Lots of new airports, connectivity going up. And so I'm assuming Manoj is a customer, FLY91 is a customer, but so are others as well in India?
Oh, we have different customers. We have been in India for over 25 years as ATR. Today we have about 70 ATR aircraft flying day in, day out with different airlines. I think we are 100% aligned with Manoj and FLY91 about the desire to develop regional air mobility in India.
Where do you make these? Where does manufacturing happen?
So we have a global supply chain in the world, but we are assembling ATRs in France, in Toulouse, which is one of the home of aviation in the world, and we are very proud of that. But we are serving about 100 countries in the world today.
And how many of these do you sell every year?
So we sell about 50 to 60 aircraft per year. We manufacture today about 40, so we are having a strong demand for our aircraft, and we have plans to grow our selling and production more globally.
And how many of these, I mean, you'll go up to 60, and how many will be how many of those planes will be coming to India, to Indian customers?
Well, you know, India today is a phenomenally growing country for regional aviation. We have 70 aircraft. We forecast a demand for more than 200 aircraft more. So we want to direct, aircraft production and delivery to India, and we are glad to be a strong partner for accompanying FLY91 in its growth in India.
Manoj, so, as Alexis said, right, fuel consumption is a lot lower.
Sure.
So just talk to us a little bit about that. So can I make that jump in conclusion by saying that, well, you operate, all of your aircrafts are ATRs, right?
That's correct, standard fleet.
So has cost as a percentage of, has operating costs gone up significantly for you, lesser than perhaps, the regular large plane operators? I mean, just give us that comparison in that sense.
Sure. So Prashant, I'll give you a kind of comparison. So for us, our cost of fuel to revenue ratio is about 22%. So out of my total revenue, I make about 22-23% is cost of fuel. A comparable airline in India, I mean, say from a cost perspective, is anywhere between 32 to 40%. So an airline that has got a large population of turboprop aircrafts tend to have it more towards the 32%, whereas the standalone jet aircrafts are in the 38 to 40%. Now, with the fuel prices going up, I mean, so while the government put a 25% fare cap, the impact of the 25% increase in fuel, our cost to revenue ratio went up to about 28 to 30%. Whereas for the people who are already sitting at the 38-40%, it's actually gone up closer to 50%. So the advantage for us has been, we have been far more resilient in terms of being able to take the cost shock, as compared to the people who operate jet aircrafts. Of course, part of it we've been able to pass on to the consumers in the form of fuel surcharges and stuff like that. But yes, I think being a pure turboprop operator, it has kind of been to our, I won't say advantage is the wrong word to use, but I think the structural advantage is something that is actually playing out in our favor, in situations like these. And obviously from a long-term perspective as well, our operating costs are very, very strongly in control.
Manoj, but it's not as if some of the larger, sorry, my mic just fell. We'll just, it's not that larger airlines like, for example, Indigo, etc., can use more ATRs replaced, because these are shorter haul flights in that sense, Manoj, right? So the cost advantage is there, but it's only going to be there for regional airlines. Would you agree?
So yes and no, Prashant. End of the day, it depends on what is the voyage you want to do, what's the kind of distance you want to cover. And typically, if you take India as a country, more than 50% of trips that Indians undertake are in the typical 8-hour to 12-hour by road distance. And that is typically what falls in the actual wheelhouse of ATR aircraft, correct? And today, if you look at the amount of underpenetration that exists in India, out of 163 airports that are functional in India, Indian aviation is largely concentrated around 70 cities, 70 to 80 cities. So there is a massive headspace available out there. And if you go back and look at, airlines that have operated in the past, city pairs that have operated in the past, there's a lot of opportunity there. So I think that opportunity exists for anybody that wants to connect two city pairs. But again, the Indian dynamics, out of 1,200 sectors in India, almost 781 are monopolies, and about 260 duopolies, clearly reflecting the demand that exists. And that is where, regional aviation actually will step in.
Come in and
Yes.
step in a big way.
You know what we do in ATR? We don't just build great airplanes. We also analyze the mobility patterns. And we found out in a study where we bought like tens of millions of data set that about 4 billion of intercity trips within India are conducted every year. But only 3% of them are conducted by air travel versus 97% on ground transportation. That means we have a possibility to double or treble that. If you look at more mature aviation economies, which is more like 8-9% of air travel share. So we have a phenomenal opportunity together with the airlines like FLY91 to continue to develop that ecosystem with the right products.
Manoj, and just round this off with your own ambitions. I mean, where are you now, and how many planes are coming on?
So we are currently 6 aircrafts, and we connect 12 cities with 280 weekly flights. Of course, our ambition is to cross the 60 aircraft mark in the next 6 years. And obviously, we want to grow. You know, we've grown very slow but steady for the first couple of years. We wanted to kind of make sure our base is set right. But the aim is over the next 5 to 6 years, we want to cover about 50 cities, and with a fleet of anywhere between 50 to 60 ATRs, literally doing all the small regional connectivity. You know, we are not in this game to connect the Bombay Delhis and the Bombay Bangalores. We are here to go to the Jalgaons and the Sholapurs and the Sindhudurgs and the Agatis and the Kulus and all these kind of places. So that's really the space that we are operating. And we are here to kind of coexist with everybody because we are the only pure play regional airline. You know, so we're not part of a larger airline. So we stand by ourselves. We work with everybody. And yeah, that's the ambition we have.
Well, you got your hands full, the order book full with 60 aircraft, I think all of them ATRs. Thank you very much, both of you, for dropping by. Manoj, all the best to you. And Alexis, great speaking with you. And drop in next time you're here.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you
For joining us.
Thank you.